Alright guys, what's up? I'm gonna make a short video here, probably because you're in a rush to pass emissions. Basically, got a '07 Hyundai Sonata. Has a check engine light for a bank 2 insufficient, which means that the catalytic converter isn't, new, operating as it should properly. But car runs fine, runs perfectly fine. Shop wants $600 just for parts, and the person's just trying to pass emissions, get it over with, and take the car to school. So this is a V6 model, so it has 2 catalytic converters, which is double suckage, basically. So what we're gonna do is get a O2 spacer here for the secondary O2 sensors. Put these in there, and the O2 sensors will read a little bit differently of those fumes, therefore not throwing a check engine light, therefore catalytic converters being good. So basically gonna explain really quick what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. Alright, so this is the code that the car threw. Bank 2 meaning after the catalytic converter. So what we're gonna do is I pulled the oxygen sensor out of the exhaust, this being the secondary. So I'm pulling out 2 secondary ones, seeing that it's a V6, and there's your primary before the catalytic converter, secondary being after. Pulling both of those out. And what I'm gonna do here with just say another O2 sensor I've laying around just to show you is online you can order oxygen sensor spacers. You can order them in a straight 90 degree, 45 degree. This is just one that I have laying around. So it's threaded on the inside and it's threaded on the outside, so it's gonna screw into your exhaust system, and your O2 sensor is gonna screw into it, which once you do, I'm trying to do this here with one hand, once you do screw it in, it's gonna go like this, blah blah blah. It's gonna screw into your exhaust system, and only one little hole will be showing for a reading instead of all this that's laying around. So therefore it's gonna read different fumes. Alright, so I got interrupted there, but basically the primary O2 sensor and secondary O2 sensor are the same thing, just one is before the catalytic converter, one is after the catalytic converter, and that is mostly 1996 and above vehicles have to take emissions. So catalytic converter, let's say, is going bad, blows a hole right through all of the platinum that's in there. Well, now this O2 sensor, your primary and your secondary, are reading the same sort of airflow, which that means that the catalytic converter is failing. So you don't have to be a genius, you can just read it online. So you can also confirm back catalytic converter with the levels of the CO. If you measure before, if you measure after, and they're the same, well, your catalytic converter is taking a crap on you, which that's just emissions. It's not gonna be dangerous to your car. That at least to me, it's not gonna be dangerous to your car whatsoever. It's just an emissions thing. So that guy is supposed to be reading a bit differently than this guy, but it's not, because the catalytic converter has blown through. So by taking your secondary, which is over there, putting it in this guy, putting it in your exhaust, it's gonna read differently than this guy, which means your catalytic converter is okay, and now you can take it to emissions. Either you can do this just if you really do care, you can do this by the time you collect money and get it taken care of, get a different catalytic converter put in, if you don't have money, or if you just don't care. crappy part with these is that the catalytic converter is one piece with the exhaust manifold, so you have to buy the whole exhaust manifold piece, front and back, which can get very expensive. A car like my car, let's say if I wanted a catalytic converter, it's disconnected, it's under the car, it would sit right there. So if I wanted a new catalytic converter, you chop the old one off, weld a new one on, very inexpensive, but this car doesn't have any at all. With this, it's all one piece, so it can get very expensive. If you don't want to go online and order an O2 spacer, you can go to AutoZone or O'Reilly. No, they don't sell them, but you can sort of make one, which I would just order one online. As you can see, it's threaded inside, threaded on the outside. You could go to O'Reilly, AutoZone. You can get, here we have a spark plug extension, basically, or they call it a non-follower. As you can see, it's threaded inside. That's the same thread as your oxygen sensor. So this will thread into your exhaust and it will thread into your O2 sensor. But if you have an O2 sensor like the ones I'm using, it's not long enough. The piece isn't long enough and you can't thread it. So what I did here was I took a drill with a drill bit. Let's see if I can see the size. I can do that later. I took a drill with a drill bit, drilled inside of this guy right here. Make sure you don't hit the threads. Just drilled deeper, because if you look in here, that's how long it is. That's how deep, I should say, it ends, and then the oxygen sensor hits. So you basically just want to make that hole deeper so that the oxygen sensor can now go in there and thread. That's if you want to do it the AutoZone way. Otherwise, you could just order one of these bad boys, screw it right in. I think they're like 25 bucks, not even expensive. So yeah, I will do that right now and then I'll show you. Alright guys, so here we are under the car. This is where the secondary O2 sensor goes. As you can see, that is the catalytic converter right there, and the primary is up there somewhere. And then on this side, you can see the flex pipe is bad, but on this side, and then a bad angle, the secondary O2 sensor is over here somewhere. But yeah, basically here's the piece offline. Screw the O2 sensor into it. Now I'm gonna screw this piece into the exhaust. Alright, so there it is, screwed in. Now all I gotta do is bring this harness back up there, plug it in. This is where the other one is for the other catalytic converter. As you can see, it's up there. So the primary is up there somewhere, secondary is sitting right here. So, and here's the O2 sensor. So we're about to do that one next after I plug it back in. Alright, about to do the second one. Put some high heat copper anti-seize on here if you care. I usually do. Put it on the inside, put it on the outside of the thread. That way we don't have it seize up and not be able to remove it ever again. Alright guys, so I'm wrapped up here. Anybody can do this by themselves at home. You don't have to be a mechanic. And I rather try this out because this costed me $5. You go to AutoZone, it costs $5. So I'd rather do that than spend $600 just for parts. So, let's say you know your car. This one I have a scan tool, so I reset the monitors, reset the check engine light, and then you want to reset, let's say, your mileage to your trip, because you want to put at least 60 miles on your car before you take it to emissions, at least. and see if it comes back or not. Now, if you already have a check engine light and you don't have a scan tool, have the car, you know, turn the car off, take the key out of it. You can reset it by taking off the battery terminals. These are usually 10mm bolts. Pop that one off, negative. Pop this one off, positive. Leave them off for about 5 minutes. Put it back on. Everything will reset, including your radio stations most of the time. Do that. That way, you know, the computer will also reset and you won't have a check engine light. Put at least 60 miles on your car. You could go over there. If anything, you're not gonna fail if there's no check engine light. You're just gonna be rejected. Put a couple 30 miles on it. Take it back, you'll pass. Alright, I hope that was helpful for you guys, and I hope that video was short enough so you're not sitting here dragging it. But yeah, if you have any more questions, comment and I'll get back to you. See ya.